Today I'm excited because I have Rhonda with me, and today we're going to talk about how to release weight and keep it off. She's been able to shed 120 pounds, and she's had that weight off for the last 4 years. And I'm going to interview her through this process, and she's been helping women do this for the last 4 years, coming to five. So I'm going to interview her through that process, through what we need to know. Because I'm one of those people who loses weight or sheds weight and gains it back, loses, and I have no idea why. The only difference is my weight is like 5 kilograms, and then my body starts alarming, and then I lose them, and then I gain them back. So I'm always like plus minus 5. I don't know who else is on this scale with me, but I'm like plus 5, minus 5, plus 7, minus 9. Like I'm always like this. And one day, God forbid, I don't want it to be plus 70, because now that will be bad. But how can I move like from my ideal weight is minus 10 and just keep there? I would love to get there myself. So I'm a student today. I am being coached. Come along with me, pour your tea, and let's dive in. Rhonda, welcome to the show. I am so honored that you made it.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
What is it that we don't understand about weight loss?
Well, I can tell you that I was in your exact same shoes, and my entire life I have yo-yo dieted. I have always had in my mind, whether it was a reality or not, is something different. Because I look back to even in my childhood is when I first started feeling fat. Okay, I
Mm.
can remember being a cheerleader in high school and wanting to have my skirt longer because I was embarrassed of my thighs. Now, when I look back at those photos, I think to myself, what were you thinking? You were not fat. But in my mind, I was. So
Mm.
I started back then doing one diet after another, and I could lose the weight. My problem was as soon as I would hit my goal weight, I
Mm.
would start gaining, and I would gain back everything I had just lost plus more. And so this went has gone on literally my entire life. And so I finally recognized that this is not about a diet. This is truly about a lifestyle change
Mm.
and understanding how to properly fuel my body so that I don't feel hungry, because that's a huge thing. In any other plan that I've tried following,
Mm.
wh- I couldn't stand that sensation of hunger when my blood sugar would drop and I would feel shaky and I'd feel lethargic. And there was no way that I could resist eating, is how I
Mm.
felt. It felt like, such a draw to eat food. And in shifting how I'm fueling my body, I can honestly say in the past 5 years, because it took
Mm.
me a year to lose the 120 pounds and then I've kept it off over 4 years, I have not experienced that sensation. And that in and of itself has made a huge difference in allowing me to continue to make the right healthy choices because I'm not experiencing those ups and downs in my blood sugar. Because when you
Mm.
eat, you're triggering an insulin response. And then the role of insulin is to bring the nutrients to the cell and acts like a key that opens the receptor on the cell to let the nutrients in to be used for energy. But when I was eating frequently, which is what I was always taught, that you have to have breakfast, then you need a snack, then lunch, then snack, then dinner, then snack. I found that in doing that, I was constantly pumping insulin. Well, then insulin comes and it brings the nutrients to the cell, and then your blood sugar can drop. So I've found a way of, first of all, increasing the amount of fat that I eat, the good healthy fats from avocados and coconut oil, avocado oil, seeds, good healthy fatty fish like salmon, the good fats that will keep you satisfied. And
Mm.
it has created the I don't need to eat frequently. And so I'm no longer having all these ups and downs and insulin spikes and blood sugar spikes. It's much more level. And, it's just recognizing that this is a lifestyle approach. The Dr. Sears, who I was certified through, he uses an acronym called LEAN, which stands for Lifestyle, Exercise, Attitude, and Nutrition. And he teaches when you increase your skills for lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition, you decrease the need for medications. And I have Hashimoto disease, which is a slow thyroid. And in changing my lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition, I've been able to not have to do any medications. And I've brought my antibodies from my thyroid into normal range. So it's been just recognizing that this is the way that I'm going to eat forever, finding something that I enjoy. The foods that I eat are delicious. I don't eat carbs such as pastas and rice and grains. However, I find ways of making foods like muffins and pancakes and waffles and desserts that are using healthy products and ingredients that keep me satisfied so I don't feel deprived. That's another big piece of it. And so it's just been, a complete revamp, and it's also been such a mindset shift. Um, you know, in the fact that I can honestly tell you that previously every morning when I would wake up, the first thought on my mind was my weight and thinking to myself, oh no, what am I going to do? I've got to find the next diet to follow. And I spent my whole life doing this where I felt broken. I felt like nothing was ever going to help me actually keep the weight off. And since learning the science of how to properly fuel my body and changing some lifestyle habits, making sure I'm drinking enough water, making sure I'm getting enough sleep, moving my body, different things like that, in doing all of that, I've been able to recognize that weight is not that what you weigh truly does not define who you are. And
Mm.
that has been a huge mindset shift for me. And I no longer allow the scale to dictate what I'm going to do. So in the past, when I was really heavy, I would wake up in the morning. First of all, I'd be in pain stepping out of bed because the weight would put so much pressure on all my joints, my back. I was miserable. So I would step on the scale, I'd be depressed, I'd let that, discourage me. If I was following a plan and I was losing weight, I was happy when I'd get off the scale. But if I was following a plan and that scale went up a little bit, that's when I would say, you know what, forget this. I can't do this. It's not working. And I'd go off the rails and eat a bunch of sugar and carbs and everything that I could get my hands on. And that's when I would start gaining the weight back. So now I recognize, you know what, it's not about what the number on the scale says. If the scale goes
Mm.
up a little bit, that's not going to change what I'm doing. I'm still following the same plan because I know that's what's healthy for me. And I know that that's what's going to fuel me properly. And
Mm.
so, oh, sorry. It has just been such a mindset transformation is the best way to describe it. And not allowing the scale to dictate what I do, but allowing the scale to be my first line of defense. I still weigh myself because I want to make sure that I'm not putting the weight back on, but I don't let the scale decide for me whether or not I'm going to follow my diet. It's my new lifestyle. This is how I live my life. And if someone makes a mistake, if I
Mm.
make a mistake, I make the next best choice instead of allowing that to cause me to spiral. Because in the past, if I had given into temptation and let's say had pizza then I would think to myself, well, I've already had one slice. I might as well have two. Give me three. Let me have the brownies, and I'll drink, it would just be the spiral. And then I would tell myself, well, I'm going to wait until Monday. Monday I'll get back on track. Well, Monday would come and I'd think, oh, you know what? I forgot I have that birthday party I'm going to on Wednesday, and I really want to have the cake. So I'm going to wait till after Wednesday. Then Wednesday would come and there'd be some other reason. And so it was just this vicious spiral. So
Mm,
now, if I make a mistake and I eat a slice of pizza, I tell myself, you know what? You had a slice of pizza. That's life. It's okay. Get yourself back on track. Make the next best choice.
mm,
And this is how over the past five, going for 4+ years, I've been
mm.
able to finally keep my weight off.
I simply love that. I have been snipping around, looking at your profile, and if you're watching, I kind of want you to see this. Like, this is the transformation. I had different pictures. Where did I put them? Let me go back. But this here is what we are talking about. Minus 120 pounds. I had picked some other pictures because I want the listener to have, if you're watching on a listening platform, I am now like snipping through her pictures and really showing you like what the transformation is, because we may not see what it is from just talking. So this is the transformation. The person we have in a Zoom room versus this person, right? This is you, right?
That is me. That's
Yeah.
right.
So this was her versus the person you're seeing in the Zoom room right now, who doesn't look anything like this lady. And so my interest, I think this was her journey, like she had already started. My interest is really knowing exactly what happened for this person to become this person. And I do not know. You probably are curious as well. I'm the kind of person that doesn't do that, but I love snacking. And I'm not even an eater of like bread or cake or pizza. It's not my thing. But my thing is I'll buy legumes and then greens, but then I will want to snack small amounts of food all through the day, which now I am beginning to think does not help for the insulin or whatever. I think I don't give my body enough time to process the food and starve. Like, I don't give my body enough time to turn the fat into whatever it needs to be. And so every time I give it food, there's a way that it stores it into something which then turns into fat. Because if there's anyone who ate clean, I ate clean. But I don't eat in the right frequency, if it makes sense. And so my body has a way of getting some of the healthy food and really turn it into fat. Rather, I would love to understand the story. Give me the story. How did you get to this point? Like, give me the story of how this happened, because I feel like we're missing that part.
Yeah, so I was at that photo that you showed where I was sitting on the bench with my son. I
Mm-hmm.
was on vacation in Helen, Georgia, and my daughter was playing around with my phone and took that picture. And my first instinct was, like usual, I deleted it because I didn't want to see what I looked like. And so but it was enough of a jar for me to see, because normally when I was in a picture, I would put children in front of me or I'd position myself so you couldn't really see what I looked like. That showed everything. And it was enough to jar me to say, this is not good. So I actually, at that point, was seeing a nutritionist anyway, because I was constantly, like I said, a yo-yo dieter and doing different things. Was paying a lot of money to somebody to help me. She was telling me to eat nothing but organic fruits and vegetables, and I was not losing any weight. When I got home from that vacation, I scheduled an appointment with my functional medicine doctor, and she told me, you are doing this backwards. I was literally sitting with tears in my eyes, telling her, I have done this my whole life and I feel broken. And she said, you need to be eating higher fat, medium protein, and low carb. Right now, you're doing nothing but fruits and vegetables, which is all carbohydrates.
Mm.
And so I shifted my mindset. I started researching what she talked about, excuse me, and that is what truly changed my trajectory and allowed me to recognize and exactly what you're saying with regard to what we're eating and it's not only just what you eat, but the timing. Giving your body that break from digestion and break from insulin. It takes 2/3 of your body's energy just to digest your food. So if you're constantly eating, you're never allowing your body that break to be able to move on to other healing processes, like pulling from stored fat to be able to use it for energy. So you made a great point there.
You said the shift was moving from eating fruits and vegetables to
A higher fat plan. So eating
mm,
good, avocados, nuts, seeds, fatty fish, getting the fat that my body needed and shifting
mm.
my body from burning carbohydrates to burning fat for energy. So getting into, the term for it is ketosis. Now, I had tried traditional keto plans in the past, and those would work temporarily, but I ended up gaining weight back. So I still make sure I incorporate vegetables because a true keto plan sometimes limits you too much on vegetables. I think vegetables are extremely important. You need the phytonutrients that are included in the vegetables, but you need to counteract the carbs that are in vegetables by eating high fat. So cooking them in good pure Irish butter if possible, grass-fed butter if possible, any kind of butter will work, or olive oil or coconut oil. Adding the fats when you're going to eat the carbohydrates is what's going to shift your body into burning the fat for energy instead of burning carbohydrates.
So are we replacing the carbs with fat or what are we doing?
Yes, I would say eliminating traditional, carbohydrate type foods like grains, rice, bread, pasta, replacing those with good high fat foods. However, like I mentioned, I am able to make things like pancakes and muffins and desserts
Mm.
using foods like flaxseed meal. There's something called golden flaxseed meal that you can purchase. I buy it on Amazon in bulk, and it is a superfood. It's high in fat, it's got good fiber, but you can use it in place of flour. So you can still make things like I just had a brownie cheesecake crumble that I made yesterday. Absolutely delicious. I feel like I'm eating a good dessert, but it's healthy. It's made with healthy ingredients. So
Mm.
that is what has helped me to not feel deprived. Because if I was not able to have dessert or not able to have pancakes or muffins or things like that, I could not have done this for the last 4 years. I just have found
Mm.
ways of making foods healthier. So I actually created a cookbook with these ingredients and recipes that I used losing the 120 pounds and that I still eat today to help with keeping it off.
I wonder, is it free or is it something we have to grab on Amazon?
It's actually, there's a link that I could send to you for it. It's a book that you purchase. The cookbook is something you purchase. I do have a free ebook that gives more, it does have some recipes. It's got a 3-day meal plan in it. But the cookbook is something to purchase. Yeah.
I love that. We'll really be putting that in the show notes. Tell me about lean. Tell me about that. I know you have a process called lean, or somehow you follow the process called lean. So walk me through how that works.
Sure. So it's the lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition. And it's changing your mindset instead of when you go to the doctor, asking the doctor, what can you prescribe? It's going
Mm.
to the doctor and asking, what can I do? And it's taking an active role in your health. It's the lifestyle piece of it is making sure you're staying hydrated, making sure you're getting some movement in. And I'll say that I don't believe that exercise in and of itself, even though it's one of the pillars of that acronym, lifestyle exercise is the second one, that is for our overall health. It's not required to lose weight.
Mm.
90% of weight loss is what we put in our mouths. The attitude piece of it is really the mindset shift. And this is why with my clients in my Real Health Resolvers group, I go live twice a week, and there on Thursdays, I'm always doing either a mindset type of session where I'm teaching on, how to stop emotional eating, because so many people struggle with turning to food. We turn to food when we're happy. We turn to food when we're sad. We turn to food when we're angry. Whatever emotion, stress. Right now in Florida, we're preparing for a hurricane that's coming straight at us. The stress of that can cause you to want to just turn to food, and you might get a temporary pleasure from the food, but in the long run, it's going to make things worse. So I teach about mindset topics like that. And then the nutrition part is critical as well, because like I said, 90% of weight loss is what we're eating. The exercise is important because that's for our overall health. We want to engage our cardiovascular system and our respiratory system and our muscles and bones. But for weight loss, it's what we're eating.
Mm. Let's see if I understand. The first thing is moving away from what pill do I need, what diet do I need, what can I do? Like, how can I change my lifestyle to be able to lose weight or shed weight? Is this more like, give me an example of a lifestyle shift that allows you to gain weight or to keep weight off? Is it like I'm
Okay.
walking daily? Is it like eating muffins made from a healthy thing? Like, what's a lifestyle shift that can help me keep weight off?
Yeah, there's actually part of my plan is 7 simple guidelines that are these lifestyle steps. And I'll just tell you the first one is drinking water. And I actually personally drink a gallon of water a day. It's a free resource that a lot of people don't take advantage of. And if you look up what most nutritionists tell you about water, they'll tell you that you need to drink half your body weight in ounces. I have clients who have gone down to 115 pounds, hitting their goal weight, and they're still drinking 128 ounces of water. So it's not, you can't overdo water. You do need to replenish your electrolytes when you're drinking that much water, but it's a simple lifestyle shift. There is not a day that goes by that I do not finish my gallon of water. I just make myself do it. And so with my clients, I teach them the science behind it, why we want to drink that much water. It gives you energy, it helps your skin, it helps there's so many things beyond just weight loss. But I also teach them how to make it a habit. So, for instance, every time I remember to take a sip of water, I take 10 sips. That little trick makes a huge difference because half the battle of drinking enough water is
Is
remembering to do it.
remembering. Or just having a bottle. Like every time I want to take water, I just put the bottle in front of me because half of it is
Yes.
like I don't remember. What are the other
Yeah.
6 tips? Oh my
There's
God,
my
that's quite a gallon.
this is
What are
yeah,
the
so
what are the other 6 tips of really nailing in the lifestyle and just getting
the
to stick to things that help?
yeah, they have to do with the timing of when you eat.
Mhm.
So, not snacking is one of them. Um, Spacing your meals so that you're allowing that time for digestion. Not eating after a certain time at night because you want to be able to give your body a break from digestion before you lie down to go to sleep. Because when you're sleeping is when so many good restorative processes occur. Making sure you're getting enough sleep is critical. So all of this is what I teach in my group and go into more specifics about it. But and then moving your body, even if you can just go for a quick 20-minute walk 3 days a week, it makes a huge difference because you're engaging that cardiovascular system, respiratory system. It's a great stress reliever. And so, getting your movement in, even if it's just, like I said, a 20-minute walk, even if you can only do that 3 days a week, you're going to be improving your overall health. So,
Drinking water, making sure there's water all the time. I have timing. I have realize when I eat once a day, I'm fine, but maybe twice a day would be fine. But the goal is to space. What is that time between meals that would be sufficient for the body to have processed the food?
5 hours is what I
Five
would
hours.
recommend. Give yourself five
So,
hours.
so practically plan 2 meals a day max, and that should be enough for the body, right?
Yeah, so I started in January doing just one meal a day, and
Mm.
occasionally I'll do two. When I was losing weight, I was doing 2 meals a day. You can fit 3 meals in if you want. You can start if you get up early enough that you can space the meals 5 hours apart, but you do want to make sure that you stop eating by around 6:30 because
Mm.
that will give your body that time to finish digesting before you lie down to go to sleep at night.
Then you need to sleep enough. How much time is enough sleep?
7 to 8 hours minimum. If you can sleep more, that's great. The more you can give your body the opportunity to heal, which happens while you're sleeping, the better.
Moving your body. I want to speak to this because I think I have come to a place of it. Before, I used to understand like this whole movement exercise. I used to be in the gym every day, and then that got really old for me. My joints began to pain. I began to dread the gym. I began to feel like I can't keep up this. And so I decided I wasn't going to do gym or anything. I was just going to walk every day. And every day, I just walk for 30 minutes, 45. But I do that every day. And I don't know how and why, but it seems to be just as effective as going to the gym and doing all the hard stuff. Would you like to speak to that piece? Because I feel like a lot of people misinterpret the exercise and movement as part of a body weight thing. I feel like people do more than they have to do, and then they don't do it consistently, and then they burn out, and then they are frustrated. But really, I feel like there's less energy needed than most people are putting into or thinking they need to put in. Would you like to speak to that?
Absolutely. I actually have three things I'd like to mention about why I don't recommend doing intense exercise,
Mm,
especially when you're trying to lose weight. Number one, it's going to increase your appetite, and that's going to make it very difficult for you to space your meals 5 hours without feeling the need to eat. You're going to be hungrier. The second thing is that a lot of people think, well, I just spent an hour in the gym, so I deserve to eat this. It's that out, you think you can outrun your fork mentality. And you can't. What you just did in the gym, if you look at what the calories are that you actually burned, chances are
mm,
it does not equate to what you are consuming in your reward for exercising. And then the third thing is it's going to affect the scale. When you're exercising intensely and you're lifting weights, you are going to be building muscle, which is a great thing. But mentally, that gets to people because they're doing all the things, they're working out hard, they're in the gym for an hour every day, and they're not seeing a downward movement on the scale. So they just give up and they say,
mm,
I'm done. So, for those three reasons, I think what you're doing now, just walking, is probably one of the best things that you could be doing.
mm. I really like that because when I used to work out, I used to feel like, okay, I need a reward. And that
Yes.
used to be like after every workout, I would just sit, feel so tired. My muscles would ache so much, and I'd be like, okay, I need a reward. And that reward, my head interpreted as something unhealthy. Whereas now, I don't have the urge to reward myself for walking. So I would love for you to think through like what happens when you do intense exercise, because most people who do intense exercise also have a way to intensely eat. And as she said, you really can't outrun your pork. I love
Yes.
that. So we're clear with the lifestyle, we're clear with the exercise. Attitude. Give me more. I want that point to sink in. What is it about attitude we need to remember?
The main thing to remember with regard to attitude is
Mm,
recognizing that food is fuel and it's not something to turn to when you have emotions. If I could give
Mm,
anybody a tip with regard to that, it would be, recognize, and I love there's a sign that I saw that says every bite of food you take, you're either fighting disease or you're feeding it. And
mm,
that really struck home for me because I think about that now. Before I put something in my mouth, I highly recommend removing processed foods. If it has 10 ingredients or more, I don't eat it. If it's got words I can't pronounce, I don't eat it.
mm,
So the attitude portion of this is recognizing what food truly is, which is energy for our bodies. It's
mm,
not something to turn to when you're angry or sad or frustrated or mad or stressed, or happy. It's not a reason, it's not something to celebrate. We tend to turn to food for celebrations, for everything. So recognizing the attitude part is knowing that the purpose behind food, which is to fuel your body.
mm. I remember my brother, I have a little brother, our last born, and he does this Health Champions brand, which is about lifestyle of eating clean and stuff. And so one day he said, you know what, Prima, it's very easy. You can either use food as medicine or use food as poison. You decide.
That's it.
And that was so clear. I was like, OMG, like, yes, you can either use food as medicine or food as poison. So every time you're going to put food in your mouth, ask yourself, is this medicine or poison? And decide.
Absolutely.
I love that. And let me see if I understand the nutrition. A lot of healthy fats, low carbs, or zero carbs if you can, or a way to make the carbs healthy. What was the third piece? Was it vegetable?
Yes, including a vegetable with each meal. So I just
Mm,
want to make sure that I'm clear that I am not opposed to vegetables because I mentioned that that's all I was eating at the time that I was not losing weight.
mm-hmm.
Vegetables are critical. So incorporating high fats, medium protein, low carb, and then making sure you get a vegetable with every meal.
Tell me more about meat
S- Uh,
and your angle of meat in this nutrition. The
okay, so
red, the white, everything in between, because we are a bit confused. Like for the longest time, I grew up knowing that red meat is bad. And then I met the carnivore diet, and it was beef. And that was supposed to be the healthiest thing. And I am like, okay, so do we eat meat, less of it, more of it, red? What? Like I'm like, okay, I don't even know what this whole meat thing is about. Tell me more
right.
about meat.
So honestly, if someone chooses to eat meat, they
Mm,
can eat red, white. It honestly doesn't matter. It's all going
mm,
to have protein. I don't distinguish. For me personally, I found that I lost faster when I did eat beef versus chicken or poultry. Other clients of mine, though, do better when they're eating chicken or turkey instead of beef. So I think everybody's body is different with regard to that. My daughter is a vegetarian and she has done fantastic, lost 56 pounds following this plan, and she doesn't eat meat at all. So the point, and every other plan that I have ever tried has always focused so much on protein. That's been the sole focus. Make sure you get enough protein. For my plan, it's make sure you get enough fat. You'll get protein. You'll get protein even from my daughter would get it from Greek yogurt. She'd get it from broccoli even has protein. You'll get protein. So if you want to eat meat, absolutely eat it. If you don't have to.
it's an interesting conversation. Does the meat have to be does it have to be steak? Like if it's beef, can it be minced meat or does it have to be steak? Like do you actually have to chew it?
No, it could be any. I use ground beef and very successful with it. One of my favorite dishes is actually taking green beans. And here's a tip too with regard to vegetables. Sometimes
Mm,
frozen vegetables are actually more nutritious than fresh because fresh sit typically on a boat coming to, the country, then sit on a truck getting to the store, and then sit in the store on the shelf. And every day the nutrients are depleting. When you purchase frozen vegetables, the nutrients are flash frozen at the time, and so they're actually more nutritious in some cases. So I'll take a bag of frozen green beans, I throw them in the microwave, take them out, and I cook them up in butter because, again, I'm trying to add the good fat. I let them kind of caramelize and crisp up so they're browned in the butter. In another pan, I cut up some onions, saute those in olive oil, add the ground beef in there, mix that up, and then I put this all together, the green beans with the ground beef. I'll cut up some avocado and I'll add some sour cream on top. And it's a delicious filling. I probably ate that at least once a week, losing 120 pounds, and did great with ground beef. So it does not have to be just steak that you chew. It can absolutely be, minced meat. Yeah.
Question about the work you do. When I look at your work, it says it's a holistic approach, which means we're thinking about the body, the spirit, the mind. So far, we've talked about nutrition and exercise. I would regard that as body. We've spoken about attitude and how to think through cravings and emotions. If you're sad or angry, the answer is not food. In fact, dare to think, is this poison or is it medicine before you eat? But every time you're angry or bored or depressed, maybe think, why am I feeling like this? And go and deal with the source of the problem rather than go and eat. There seems to be a healing element. There seems to be a spirit element. But I would love for you to shed more light on either that piece or the whole entire holistic bit of your business, if you don't mind. But I feel
Absolutely.
like the body and the mind came out clearly in the lean framework. What I didn't see is the healing part of the business.
Okay. Yeah. So many people have been able to heal from past traumas that they've experienced that tend to cause them to turn to food, which leads into that emotional eating. But healing is also part of the process, seeing people be able to get off of diabetic medications. My parents both were morbidly obese pretty much my whole life. My dad has recently lost 128 pounds. My mom has lost 77 pounds. And they both were type 2 diabetics, have reversed their A1Cs, brought them down to 5.3. So they have been able to get off of the diabetes medications. I have my client, you actually showed a photo of her, Trisha Mason. She had terrible high blood pressure. She has gotten off of her high blood pressure medication. She lost 90 pounds and she's kept it off over a year now. So it's the holistic approach, and the healing is seeing how your body responds to the lifestyle, the exercise, the attitude, the nutrition. It's bringing that all together in order to heal both emotionally, spiritually, and physically so that you can live your best life.
Does imposter syndrome contribute to weight?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How does imposter syndrome contribute to all of this? The healing, the weights, and the food. Imposter syndrome, like, where does imposter syndrome come in? Because I know that you actually teach about imposter syndrome in your process, but like, how does it connect to all of this?
The imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't feel that they are capable. And I personally, when someone suggested to me to become a certified health coach, I didn't feel worthy because I had struggled so much with my weight. I think because of the fact that I have struggled with my weight, it has allowed me to connect at a deeper level with my clients because I understand where they're coming from. So, I think that when people are struggling with imposter syndrome, they feel like they are not capable, or they're not worthy, or they're not able to lose weight and to actually keep the weight off. They have to recognize, and I think by seeing others, and especially in our community of people, the tight-knit group that we have, we all encourage one another. We share ideas, we share recipes, and we help each other through those types of issues. Where seeing other testimonials of people who have done this and have been successful encourages you, hey, you know what? If they can do this, I can do this.
Mm, I love this. The other part of healing, which I can think about, is sometimes you're eating food because you're trying to fill a hole that was left there by like a trauma. And so you're traumatized, you didn't heal, you didn't do the work, and that is causing you to feel like you're not enough, you're just not enough, you're not good enough, I don't know, because you can't fit in that dress, then you're not good enough as whatever. And then
Right.
for you to avoid, like food is kind of an avoidance. Like you're avoiding looking on the inside and you're
Yes.
resorting to food. There's a guest who made me see this point well, and she said food is an addiction. People are addicted to food. It's just that food is normalized as an addition in society, and people are encouraged to eat. He said when you go to a restaurant, asking for more food is celebrated. When you go to the groceries and when you're shopping, more and more is celebrated. But when you're smoking or drinking alcohol or some other addiction, that's not celebrated. And so people are misguided because overeating or using food as an escape is an addiction. It's just that it's one that is celebrated and people never get to see it. But I really liked how she said it's like it's as of an addiction as alcohol or anything else. And so if
Absolutely.
you're eating non-stop, you're addicted to food. And if you look at this as an addiction, then we can lead back to trauma. And when we heal trauma, we can heal the addiction connected to the food. Like, how does that land for you?
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I can tell you, I was a sugar addict specifically, and sugar
Mm,
is physically addictive as well.
mm,
In the way that you're describing, food can be an addiction that we turn to fill that hole that we feel from trauma that has occurred. But when you add sugar in, you're increasing that because it's actually physically addictive. It's actually 9 times more addictive than crack cocaine. So when people are turning to, and our body's natural response when we are stressed
mm.
is to turn to sugar because we're wanting that energy, that quick source of energy. And so we're adding to that addiction by turning to specifically sugar. So that would be one key tip that I would say too, is if you can eliminate sugar from your diet, you're going to make getting rid of that food addiction so much easier.
I like this. What is it that we've left out that if we didn't talk about it, this conversation would be incomplete? When we look at your truth and what you represent and what your message is, what is it that needs to be added for this conversation to be complete, or do you feel complete?
I would just say if anybody is struggling, if you're feeling like this is something that you have battled with your entire life, I would love to be able to offer you an opportunity to help you. You can sign up to just do, you can reach out to me. We can do a quick phone conversation. I'd be happy to be able to offer answers to the questions that you might have. And I am passionate about this because I've experienced it myself and I've seen how life is once you get past all of that and you get to the other side and you wake up in the morning feeling good instead of feeling depressed or worried about what you're going to do. So if you're feeling like you're struggling and you need that help, please just reach out and we'll set up a time for a quick phone call where I can just help you and answer your questions and see if this is an area that I would be able to continue to be a source of information and help for you.
We've talked about lifestyle, we've talked about exercise, we've talked about attitude, we've talked about nutrition, we've talked about healing. The part we haven't talked about is accountability. Knowing this stuff is one thing, doing it is another. And so if you need that accountability, if you need that handholding, if you need that custom plan for you, because like where I come from, things look different, foods look different. So I always need a custom plan for where I am. I'm from Uganda. And so I don't have what is in Florida. And so if I am to ask Rhonda, like I would have to specifically tell her like the foods that I have access to. And so if you feel like one, you need accountability, two, you need that personal touch of customizing this process for yourself, and three, you need a community of people who are on the same journey. There's people that have to lose 200 pounds. I probably just have to lose 10 pounds and I'm fine. Most people are like, what do we even need to lose? It's just like everyone has an internal thermometer. And mine just screams when I cross 60. It says, nope, where are you going? And maybe yours is 200 pounds. Maybe yours is 500 pounds. I don't know. But there is people who have stronger thermometers that I don't have a 500 thermometer. Like if I become 500 pounds, I'll probably be dead because I can't even stop the screaming when I'm 70 kilograms. Like, okay, every morning I wake up and there's a bell in my stomach saying, get up, get rid of the weight. And so I do not know what your threshold is. But what can be very beautiful is a community of people like you on the same journey, sharing this and talking about it, and you knowing that it is possible for others as well, giving yourself a chance to believe in the process and do it because of the evidence. One of the things that I really know is for you to change what you're doing now, we need to change the environment. Maybe you may not change your country, and you may not change your location, and you may not change your house, and you may not change anything much other than joining a new community of people who are just doing the same thing you're trying to do. That's all it takes. Finding people in the world that are like, we are not happy where we are in terms of weight. We desire to shed this weight and lose it for good, and we are committed to the process. That's all you need to think about. And Rhoda is offering a free call to have a chat, see where you're at, where you'd like to go, and kind of see like, is she the right guide to support you along the process? And we will be putting links in the show notes. Be sure to click on that, book a call with Rhonda, and just see how she can help. And if you're not ready for that, we'll be putting other ways you can keep learning. She has a Facebook group, which is free as well. And she has free stuff. And so if you feel like you need more, you need to learn more, hear more, we'll be putting links as well for you to go dive deep. Especially we'll be putting like her website where you can go and just maneuver all over the place and kind of see the things that are there. But if you feel like this is for me, I need to just take action, I need the next step, then there will be a call. Book it. It's free. Really no pressure, as you can see. There's no pressure to buy anything. But if you're the right person and you desire support, there is support for you, and that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And ultimately, really, the best way you can support this podcast, the work on my heart, which is really translating these messages into the world, the work on Rhonda's heart, which is really helping people shed weight and keep it off so they can feel good in the world and they can go after the life they desire. The best thing you can do to support this work is I'm trying to draw a triangle, but I don't know how well I'm doing. We want you to be this piece here. And this piece is called the transporter of the message. So we have the message here, we have the interpreter of the message here, and I would love for you to be the best of this message and just transport it. If you're on this podcast listening, chances are you're a first-degree connection of someone that needs this as badly as they need to breathe. And so just look around and go, who do I know that needs to lose some weight, lose it for good? Who do you know that has been on endless diets? Who do you know that every other is at a new diet? Who do you know that is like this, on, off, on, off? Who is the prima in your life that needs to lose weight and lose it for good? We would love for you to honor them by sharing this episode with them. Simple message to them is, hey, I listened to this podcast and I thought about you. That's all. Share this with them in their private space. And that is how you will have honored the work. That is how you would have spread the message. And if you're here because someone chose you, then you know the drill. Would like for you to choose somebody else. Who could use rest with trying to chase the weight loss equation? It's like a matrix. There's this and that and that and that, and nothing ever works forever. It's like one matrix where if you start, you can just lose the whole of your life trying to lose weight. But really, weight loss is more of a lifestyle than anything, than a diet. So who do you know that is in the matrix of weight loss that you'd like to pluck out and say, hey, let's just share this weight and keep it up? That's the person who would love for you to bless. Other than, of course, pulling out the app where you are watching or listening and going, oh, what can I do to support this podcast? Can I review? Can I rate? Can I subscribe? Can I comment? I do not know what you can do. You're the expert. Do the magic. It really helps more than you know. Rhonda, we are getting to the end of our conversation. What would you like us to go home with? Your last words for us.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I think it's amazing that you have this podcast so that you can help get messages out into the world, and you're helping so many people through that. So thank you.
My honor. What about the listener? What would you like them to take away?
I'd like you to know that you are capable. You can lose weight. You are worthy of this. And it is possible. You can do this like so many. I've helped over 400 people. You can be one of those. You just have to take the first step.
That is it from Rhonda today. You and I are on this journey of dropping this weight for once and keeping it there where it belongs. I hope I'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much for joining me today in this conversation, in this coaching. And Rhonda, thank you so much for choosing to spend your afternoon or morning or evening with us. We really celebrate the time. But most importantly, we really honor the 4 years that you spent figuring out these answers so we could also get the answer to finally just leave weight behind us and just keep it there. So thank you so much for sparing the time. We really appreciate you and celebrate you.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, until next time, sending you lots of love and light.